Hello, everyone, and welcome to the 5 Tips and Tricks for Careers in Athletics. I'm your host, Dr. Maury Mosovitz, with my all-time most favorite, most wonderful, most amazing co-host, Jen Albanese.
Only co-host.
We don't have to say it. We don't have to talk about that. Listen, push it.
I know.
Jen,
Hello.
hey,
Hello.
how's it going
Hi.
today?
It's going. Excited to have our guest today. And
This is a big pickup. Justin
Yeah.
Rogers through a friend,
Mhm.
like a mutual friend of
I know.
actually very much your husband's good
Yes.
friend, but
Yes. But still, he's my good friend now,
he is
too.
your friend as
So
well.
thank you, crew, for the connection of Justin. We're very excited for this one. So.
And this is kind of cool because Justin's all the way out in Boise State, and we have not talked to anyone from there yet. And kind of a pretty cool place. There's not a lot of places like that. So I mean, the one thing that everyone always thinks about when you think of Boise is the blue field.
I know, it's just so unique. It's funny because you just don't think about that, and that's so unique to them. And when you talk about Boise State, everybody says, "Oh, they have a blue field."
It's their brand.
That's what they're known for.
Yeah.
So it's very cool. And I feel like it's just they do such a great job of like weaving that into everything that they do. Their marketing, their game day, everything kind of includes that blue field, and they're very like proud of it and have like that pride to that they are, one of very few that have different unique color fields,
which is cool because I was trying to look it up when we were prepping for Justin. I'm like, who else has different color fields? And there's like 8 of them that I could find.
I'm like, no one has any other fields but Boise.
There is, I mean, there's a local school up in upstate New York, Morrisville State, that has a black field, which I think would be incredibly hot. Like, I don't know how you could do that.
I mean, think about like playing, even like if you played lacrosse or soccer, because those are like more spring sports or fall sports, like early fall. Can you imagine if it's 85 degrees and you're on a black field?
Gotta be very difficult to play on that field. And the funny thing is, I found out about that because the company that installs our turf fields
cool.
did theirs because it's the same area. And they were talking about it, and they were like, "Whoa, we just did a black field." Like, really? Like, could you even? And they're like, "No."
I'm curious to know like why they chose black. I know their color is black, but like
I think the article was they wanted to do something different, and it was an
unique,
opportunity. And so, I mean, it's interesting.
We're talking about it.
I know. And then, I mean, I looked up the one that was, I guess Eastern Michigan has gray in their field. Like their field's primarily gray, but their colors are green and gray. So they're more gray field than green. So that's kind of, but that's kind of like but no one ever talks about that. And then, Coastal Carolina.
I was going to say, didn't you say, aren't they like aqua or something?
It's like aqua, but it's very close to green. So I feel like maybe they don't get. And didn't we play a bowl? I feel like I remember one of our teams play like a bowl game or something there. I remember like watching a bowl game or something there.
Yeah, I feel like that's when you see it. If everything is, if you're on TV, that's where you would see the unique colors and fields and that kind of stuff.
Yeah, they said there's like some other ones that are like D2 or D3 schools that have other blue fields, but the one that you always think about is
Boise
State.
Sure.
They market it.
Yeah, it's unique. It's cool. It's something different for them and gives them an identity that's different than everybody else. So, similar to like, different stadiums that people have and, different color fields is unique. So very cool.
Them.
I know. It'll be cool. I'm sure Justin will bring it up.
How can you not? Or he's sick of talking about it one way or the other.
True. Exactly.
Well, with that, we should get to Justin, and we'll hear from him after these messages.
Are you a loyal 5 Tips and Tricks podcast listener? If not, now is the time to start. Get all your info and fun content on the podcast by following us on all our social channels at @AthCareerPod. The 5 Tips and Tricks podcast is a part of Athletic Career Consulting. Make sure to reach out to us. The one-stop shop for everything is our website, www.athcareer.com. Remember, follow and like us on @AthCareerPod, rate and review us, and get all your info at www.athcareer.com. Okay, everybody, welcome back. Maury, would you like to introduce our guest today?
Absolutely. Today's guest began his journey in sports business after earning a bachelor's degree in finance from St. Joseph's University in 2012. He got his start in the industry as a group sales account executive with Spectra before moving into college athletics with roles at the University of Houston and University of Alabama, where he also completed a master's in sports business management. And then he went on to the University of Texas at San Antonio. In 2021, he joined Boise State Athletics, where he steadily advanced through key leadership roles, from overseeing ticket sales and service to driving fan development and revenue generation, and now leading resource development as assistant athletic director, as well as leading all development operations for the Bronco Athletic Association. He brings over a decade of experience and proven track record in college athletics and revenue strategy. Welcome, Justin Rogers, to the podcast. Welcome, Justin.
Hi,
Thank you.
Justin.
Hi, Jen. Hi, Maury. Thanks so much for having me.
We're very excited that you got to do this. We got connected to you through a friend of ours. It's always fun when we have people in common that can connect us, and got to go out there at Boise and hear all about what you're doing.
Yeah, connections. It's pretty interesting, right? You mentioned I'm all out here in Boise, Idaho. Quick story about myself. I'm from upstate New York, from the Syracuse area originally. Got connected through an old high school friend of ours that Jen met much later on in life. So it's a small world. You are never far removed from people, that's for sure.
It's such a small world, and he's a good friend of my husband's, and he's like always so supportive of anything that we're doing. And he was like, "I have the guest for you," and I was like, "Okay, send him our way." So thank you, Croup. You get all the credit for this one.
He gets all the credit for that one.
There you go. And I also feel like Boise State, like people. You always can connect with people from Boise State. We work with someone that used to work there. I have a former intern that I think still maybe be there, and we've had a lot of people that have been through Boise.
Yeah, a lot of connections.
It's a cool place.
Yeah, it's a really cool place. One of the things I really enjoy and appreciate about being here is that it's a really unique brand. It's like we have the blue turf, so it's all zany, wacky, fun. But at the same time, it's like if you're kind of getting our identity, it's very much a school that's got to do more with less. And a very blue collar mentality, and we got to roll up our sleeves and get things done. A lot of times, whether it's your direct job or not, you just got to figure it out. And
other duties
it seems to work though.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. No, I feel like here, like there's like 3 bullet points on the job descriptions that just repeat the same thing, just to really kind of hammer it home. So, but yeah, so I think it's a really cool place to be, and produces a lot of creative thinkers, with a strong work ethic, and I think that's something that I think a lot of folks can benefit from.
Well, with that, we're diving right into it. Let's get your first tip or trick.
Yeah, great. So right off the hop, kind of piggyback off that is to tell your story. I think that's something that, and when people hear that, I just want to be clear, it's not necessarily that you need to tell your life story to everybody you meet. That's not really what I mean. What I'm really much more talking about is, especially as you're getting started in the industry, you're thinking about, what is it that I do, right? What is it that this organization depends on me to do? And how do I make sure that I'm measuring it, right? I'm tracking the results of it all. And then also I'm stepping up and communicating what's going on. So really trying to tell the story of like, all right, so here's the things that I'm assigned with doing that this organization needs me to do in order to be successful. And to be able to, kind of define your own expectations, right? And then quantify it, and then be able to kind of, produce that information, kind of communicate it on upwards to folks that are kind of evaluating what you're doing. I think that's super important. So tell your story.
I feel like I always struggle with that. I feel like, and I don't know if it's good or bad or just what I do. It's like, oh, what do you do? And I'm like, I don't know where to start. Like, I don't know. Like, cause it is. And we were kind of talking about that. I'm sure it's the same in your role. It's like, there's so many different hats that you have to wear. And it's how do you narrow it down to like, no one's going to sit there and be like, okay, let me list a 20-page document about the things that I do in a day. But also like for the people that are above you, like try and hit those key monikers and explanations. Like you said, like how you narrow that down.
Yep. And I think it's important to ask questions, right? It's important, especially I think about roles I've been in the past where maybe I've felt overwhelmed, but I felt like a lot's been thrown at me, and it's trying to sift through everything, saying, okay, I feel like I've got a dozen different things that I'm supposed to be doing, but what's the most important thing, right? And it's okay to ask questions, right? Like ask questions to your supervisors, and make sure that you're like I say, clearly defining those expectations, and a lot of that will help guide you, to kind of what are the important things that you need to be focused on.
Yeah. I like that. I was laughing with someone today about, because, obviously you always have new people coming into the department and they're like, oh, what do you do? Like you said, Maury, or like somebody thinking somebody else does marketing or somebody else does social or somebody else does creative. And it's really important to be able to kind of have that 1 minute, like, hey, this is what our department does, or this is what I do, to just educate people too. Cause I think you just assume everybody knows, hey, yeah, I oversee fan experience. That you just think that they know what that is, or I do ticket sales, or I do facilities. People don't understand that specifically. So having that to be able to, define for people, I think is really important. So.
Yeah, and then even kind of broadly speaking too, right? You think about it as your career develops, right? And then you
Mm-hmm.
start getting a position where maybe you've got some people that you're starting to managing and oversee, and then when you think about that, you think about team culture, right? Kind of
Yep.
what's making this thing go. I mentioned, kind of, we're a little bit unique here at Boise State, I think, just kind of from a brand identity perspective. So we're big on incorporating that into how we operate. And then when you're overseeing people, that means you're also going to have some turnover,
Yeah.
or maybe you're just welcoming new team members as additive positions, and that's great. But you got to be able to tell that story, right? Like this is
Mm-hmm.
our team story. So maybe
Yeah.
it's not just yourself, but it is just our department story, right? And this is
Right.
kind of what we're doing, and really being able to make sure that okay, we're bringing new people into the fold, but these people they don't know anything about us, right? Like they're just
Right.
walking in
Yeah.
new, and it's up to us as leaders then to tell the story of our team, and to make sure that new people are coming in, they're understanding that this is how we do things here, and this is why we're successful, and this is what we expect of you to carry that
Yeah.
forward.
That's
I
great.
I would laugh because you don't know my father, but Jen does. He always wanted me to do Toastmasters, which I always thought was a weird
Yeah.
thing. And so I don't even know if Jen knows what Toastmasters is. It's like, but they talk about elevator pitches. I didn't
Yes.
do it, but I read a book one time about
But
it just because
yeah.
but like it's like, how do you develop your elevator pitch? How do you like be able to
Yep.
explain somebody in a time that you go from like one section of the elevator to another? And that's honestly, it sounds kind of easy, but it's not a
It's
simple
not.
It's
task.
not easy, man. It's not at all. That's stuff that takes practice and repetition. And
Right.
Yes.
Toastmaster does some different things, but I think
Yeah.
the point of it, right, is like you don't get this sort of practice in your job,
Right.
Like, you don't
No,
do
it's
this
not.
all
It's
the
not a
time.
natural
So,
thing. It's part of doing your everyday job. So, no,
Yeah.
that's awesome.
and then you get put on
Okay.
the spot. So.
Exactly.
Yeah. I know.
With that, number 2, what do you got?
Yeah. So I think for anybody that's starting out, I think, and this is maybe that you mentioned, I have a bachelor's in finance, so I'm a money person. I'll admit it. But I think study the money. So no matter what department you're a part of, like you're all making a financial impact. So I think it's crucial that once you kind of get your feet under you, start getting the swing of things, start going, okay, what now I understand the expectations in terms of what I'm supposed to be doing, but now you got to start kind of showing, kind of the impact, right? And if you
Mm-hmm.
can understand through your department, I don't care what department you're in, whether, maybe it was easier for me starting off in sales. I oversee some departments now that aren't directly generating revenue, but we do sit down and try to figure out, okay, what's the monetary value of these things that we're doing. We're seeing events now, right? And it's like,
Yeah.
okay, well, how do we try to put into something here, about the value of this event, and should we continue to do it, right? Is
Right.
it a net positive for us, right? Or is this a money drain, or is this a drain of our staff's energy and resources, right? Like it's all that sort of stuff where I think when you can really study the money and understand things, that's where you can kind of identify, okay, where can I make the biggest impact possible, which then ties back into telling your story as well.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think people forget too that this is a business and we're here to
Yes.
make money. And like you said, every department, whether it's directly or indirectly, affects revenue. So, like you think about maybe facilities, like,
Yep.
you're not going out there and picking up the phone and trying to sell tickets or sponsorship, but the production of the game and the way like Maury manages, capital projects and
Yep.
all of that, it interacts with revenue and money. And so I think people forget that every department has an impact on that.
I mean, it's not hard. It's either money in or money out. There's only
Exactly.
two options.
True.
You're either bringing it in or you're taking it out. And if you're bringing it in, you're trying to do it more. And if you're taking it out, you're trying to do it less. And
Yep.
that's really the name of the game. And I feel like a lot of people are like, oh, it's just how it works. And
Mm-hmm.
the better you get at figuring out how you bring in more and how you stop bringing less out and do the most with it is like, it's kind of how you have to manage those budgets. Like it's that's a very simple way of saying it, because it's definitely not easy. Clearly you Justin knows that, but that's the simplicity. Like that's the simple thought of it. And I think a lot of people, and we've talked about it before, get lost in forgetting that, like, you got to manage what side of you're on and how are you making that work.
Yeah, or if you're on the money outside of things, it's like, what type of savings can you deliver on?
Exactly.
Right. Like there's always a way to put things in monetary value.
Right.
You just have to think it through a little bit, be a little bit creative, right?
Right. Well, like you said, do more with less. Like I feel like everybody is challenged with that.
Everybody.
I mean, it doesn't really matter what school you're working at, or what, even if you're at a professional level, like what can you do with less to but still do more, still make it better, still do bigger, still do better, but don't spend as much money,
And then,
well, if you're at a professional, you got owners that you got to report to, right?
Right.
So they don't
Exactly.
want to see you doing less.
Right. Exactly.
In the same way, if you're external or internal, you have to look at it and say, and you brought it up, what is the, here's the expense that it costs for us to do this. What are we gaining from it? And how are we making that a net positive? And if you can't look at that, and, you need both sides to make that work. The more, like I look at it, the more for my partners on the external side that I can help make it less expensive, but more impactful, the better that is for their rate of return. So it's a big group project, no matter what you're doing with it.
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. I'd even say with some of our student life program that we do, so we have a great team that does a lot of awesome stuff there. It's like they're doing stuff where, I get it, right, on a budget, right? Yes, this is a money out sort of thing. But I think they do a great job of trying to sell the benefits of it, though.
Yeah, exactly.
So maybe there's not an exact hard dollar that you can assign to it, but what they are doing is coming back and saying, here's all the positives from it, though. Right. So here's why we should continue to do this, or maybe they want more investment in it, right? Because they have other ideas on additional benefits that we could draw if we had some more resources for it, right? It's just that mindset of making sure that you're kind of thinking things through that lens.
And from a bigger campus perspective, and is like, how does this help enrollment? How does this help with the community engagement? Like, I think of Boise State, like clearly you guys are such a huge part of your community and the impact that has. And so what's that return about developing programming around it? And you kind of have to, and it's not easy. It's not easy to figure those intangible values that are in it, but you still have to work out those benefits to be an operational unit.
Right. Or saying, hey, we made sure that we doing some sort of life skills development, program for our student athletes. And we made sure to bring in certain employers from the community, right, who are supporting us. But because of that, we were then able to set up a fund that could help, sustain this department through philanthropic giving. And because of those key relationships that we already had, we were able to kind of further develop them and, turn it into even more, revenue generation.
Into a generator.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. It's pretty cool stuff.
Awesome. Okay. That's an awesome one. What do we got for number 3?
Yeah. Be a problem solver. So it sounds simplistic, but I think you mentioned it, Jen. Everybody's trying to do more with less right now. That is what this entire industry is tasked with. And so we all have problems. We all don't have enough money to fix everything we need to do, or hire all the staffing that we need to hire to meet the expectations that are set for us. Like, we're all facing issues. I think, as managers, as leaders, right, the last thing you ever want to hear is just people bringing up problems. It's like, chances are you're bringing up a problem that I already know about. It's not a surprise. So it's like, now you're just kind of wasting time. So make sure that whenever you bring up a problem, bring 2 potential solutions. I think that's a great
example.
I love that.
Yep. I typically come up with one that's maybe more pragmatic, and then maybe one that's a little bit more dramatic and out there. Just to try to test the waters here. Like, hey, how much of an appetite is there to fix this thing?
That's pretty cool.
Just bring, so one, don't just bring problems, bring solutions. And I recommend bringing a pragmatic solution and a reach.
Which one goes first when you present, the reach or the pragmatic?
Depending on the audience, I'll say that. So exactly.
I feel like it would be a really good way to mitigate things, to be like, okay, let me give you the reach, and then when they look at that and go, oh man, you go, oh, here's the pragmatic,
and then they're like, oh, what a great idea.
That's a great.
Tip. Honestly, and I didn't even think about this. You think I would have thought more about this stuff beforehand, but that probably goes back to my days as a sales rep. Like, you have a prospect that you're making a pitch for. It's like, pitch the highest thing first.
Yeah.
That way, then when you come back and pitch the pragmatic thing, it's like, oh, well, that looks a lot better. You just said, hey, this is something for $10,000, and you're going to come back at something at $5,000 or sorry,
Yeah.
$500.
Yeah.
Which you wanted, which was the first
That
thing
one.
you wanted to sell anyway.
Anyway, right,
That's
the
the
thought
one
that
you
you
were
were gonna
trying
get.
to sell.
I'm pretty
So-
sure my real estate agent got me on that trick here. You know, buy a house because so, but I'll give her a lot of credit. She was really good. So, but yeah, so I think it's just a good little tip there. Kind of
No, it's a great tip. And I mean, Jen and I have talked about this many times. Like, you don't want somebody walking into your office that it's just, here's the problem, and it's like, okay, I have no thoughts on it. It's just, I'm just going to hand you these issues, and it's probably the worst like one-on-one meeting you can have with one of your people you supervise. It's like, okay, I get we have a problem. What's your thought on it? How are you going to attack it?
Right.
And you know, when Jen and I have been in these meetings together where people bring this up and we're like, okay, like we'll work it through with you, but where are we starting on this? And it can be pretty deadly. So I love the idea of having two ideas coming into the room, because that challenges you, but then it can help you navigate and, you know, get maybe a result that you're actually looking for.
Yeah, I'm going to use that with my interns. I always say that, like, you know, collaborate together, like try to solve something, like don't always resort. Like my line is literally, don't always resort to coming to the full-time staff with the question or the problem. Try to see how you can work through it. So I'm going to totally use that. Come with two solutions to the problem, because I think they just come up with it like, oh, we can't do this. Okay, I can't do this. We can't do this. Well, why? How can we find a way to do it? And they don't think like that. They just want you to like give them the answer, but you got to try to push them a little more. So I really like that. The two solutions, I'm totally using that.
And the reality is they might be two terrible solutions. Let's be honest. Jen and I have been in there and we've been like,
but you know what? At least they thought about it.
And it usually is a starting point. That's like, hey, and I'm thinking more, it's like, let's jump off of this. Let's have a discussion about that. It makes it a lot easier to get into the issue because you've, you know, presented something as a starting situation. And I hope people aren't afraid to be like, okay, let me put myself out there. Because I think that's what sometimes keeps people from doing it, but it makes them look so much worse. Like that's the funny thing. They think they're protecting themselves, but they're actually making it a lot worse.
Yeah. Not a positive outlook. Yeah. So
that's just something I think also just kind of gets them in this frame of mind that they're empowered, right? That okay, maybe you're not authorized to make the decision, but you feel empowered that you can come with solutions that, you know, you can bring something to me that I'm probably just going to say yes to, you know, because you feel that good about it, and you know I'm good, so great, you know, like thank you for bringing up the problem, appreciate you having a solution even more.
Run with it, yeah.
Whether or not to work, run with it.
The more times you put those solutions together, the more chance that you'll be the person that gets to decide whether it gets to happen or not. So I mean, that's the reality.
That's true too. Yeah. So just try to start owning it.
Yeah, exactly.
Own it. Our favorite.
Own it. Okay. Number 4.
Yeah.
Am I right, Jen?
Yes. Number 4. We're on 4. Yep.
Yeah. So this is a little bit ironic coming from me. It's something I think I've learned much more over the past couple of years in particular, and maybe it's just life changes and stuff like that. But blossom where your feet are planted. So I get it. If you look at my bio, I've jumped around all sorts of places. Again, I'm from the East Coast. I've ended up down south. I've ended up in Texas. I'm now out in Idaho. So I get it. It's kind of rich coming from me. But past few years, right, we've had a family of 3 young kids. You know, we're just kind of in that phase of life. So I think some other things kind of slow down for me a little bit professionally. But I think one of the things I've really enjoyed about my experience here is just knowing that, you know, we're here for this time period. So we're just going to make the best of it. And I don't really worry about other opportunities. I'm not worried about chasing, for the first time, honestly, in my career. You know, I'm 10 years into this now, and I'm finally not worried about chasing the next thing. And, probably something I wish I would have learned a little bit earlier, quite frankly. But I think there's a lot more peace of mind that comes with knowing, being like, I'm here. Let's whatever the day brings, I'm gonna make the best of it. I'm gonna show up the best I can. I'm gonna treat others, you know, with love and respect the best I can. I'm gonna serve others, and through that, I think this is where I've been able to grow the most in my career. I think, you know, 10 years, okay, really the past couple of years, really I've grown the most out of all those years. And I think a huge part of that is just because this is where I'm focused on being right now, and I'm not worried about the next thing. So just something probably wish I would have learned earlier in my career.
Yeah.
No, it's a good one. And something we've heard so many times from some people that once you kind of accept where you're at and make that the focus, things usually fall into place no matter what it is, whether you're still at that place or not. That ends up being it because you're kind of fully embraced into that area. So Jen and I aren't good examples for that because we've been around forever at where we are
I
at.
know.
Yeah, right.
But I think it's something
But
to
it's
be
a
said
true
about.
thing.
Yeah, I think it's something to be said about being invested where you are. Like
Yeah.
Yes.
you put forth all your effort, you give 100%. You want to do what's best for the institution that you're at. And if you're always looking for the next job, the next opportunity, your focus isn't always on what you're supposed to be doing in your job at that time. So it is something to be said to be invested and stay somewhere for, 5 or 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 years where you can actually be invested and see the fruits of your labor actually like progress and be successful. Because a lot of times in your the early part of your career, you're starting whatever you're starting and you never get to finish it because you move on to the next thing, or you never see it come to fruition, an idea or a project. So there's something to be said about that too. So I don't think it's a negative thing, Maury, where we've been, but
No.
No.
I think it's something to be said about being invested. Like you said, you're blossoming where you are right now, and it's a great thing. So.
And it doesn't mean just because you move on to somewhere else, you weren't invested in that place.
Right.
But let's all be honest. Like there's people that have come there, and I've been around people where I'm like, they're not really here. And I think that's what Justin's saying. It's like,
exactly.
You're fully present at that place. And I don't have any animosity whoever had come through, our institution and then went on and became successful somewhere else too. But I do remember those people that were invested and like implanted themselves in the community for whatever amount of time they were there. And I think that is genuine and makes a difference. And those are the people that I still stay in contact with when they do leave.
Exactly.
That's true. Those are the best contact you make.
Yeah, it's that investment piece, I think, is what the key is.
Yeah.
The investment of where
and also too, I think it's maybe not always in the place too, but also in your role, right? Where it's like, hey, this is your role today, right? It doesn't mean it's gonna be your role 10 years. It won't be your role 10 years from now, probably not. But so it's like, things change, things evolve. But if you're doing things well, right, and you understand again, you understand what you're tasked with, you understand the expectations, you understand what the target is, you're tracking, you're measuring, you're excelling with what you're given. I don't care what it is you're given, just excel with that, right? And be grateful and be appreciative. There are so many people who want to work in this industry who quite frankly can't get in, right? It's like we get to do this, so have that gratitude, really kind of be rooted in that. And then I think it's maybe a little bit, probably not surprising. This is a place where I've been able to earn more duties, more than any other place so far along my career. It's probably because of that mentality that, hey, whatever I've been given, whatever I've been tasked with, and sometimes I'll be honest, sometimes I don't even like love the thing that I'm tasked with, and that's okay too. I still get to do this, right? It just comes with the territory because there's all this other stuff that I do that does fill my cup, right?
Exactly.
So, but whatever it is, you kind of treat it with the same, like I said, the same attitude of gratitude, and you just kind of get after it.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, we're at the big one, Jen. Throw it out there.
All right. Okay. So Justin, what do you know now that you wish you knew then? So what do you know now at this point in your career that you wish you knew when you first started?
I think the power of relationships. You mentioned we're sitting here today because of somebody that I met when I was like 12 years old, right? So, Jen, I met your husband, I think I was probably 15 years old. Like, it's like, it's like
before me. You've known him longer than I've known.
No, I'm never going to say that. But I think when I say power of relationships, I think in terms of the power of investing in relationships.
Yeah.
When you meet people, it's like you're going to make asks from people, right? So if it's people you work with on a daily basis, you're going to make asks from them. It's like, well, why should they say yes to you, right? Like you need each other to get things done. Like I can't do everything on my own. None of us here can do everything on our own. You have to depend upon it. Oh my gosh, look at the rules you two do. Like you cannot do everything on your own. You have to depend upon others. And it's like, what's going to get them to say yes to you? Because the reality is they also have a lot of other people making asks of them, right? It's like, well, why are they going to help you? Why not help somebody else? And I think investing in those relationships, right? Saying, hey, one day I'm going to make, I was taught one day and now I really understand it. Look at relationships like bank accounts.
Right.
Like, you need to make an ask from somebody. That's a withdrawal. Well, what are you depositing into that relationship?
Right.
Like, how are you taking care of others? How are you serving? I need somebody from my counterpart in a different department. Well, what have I done for them? Right. Like it's kind of approaching things like that, really kind of leading with love and being able to make sure that, when the time does come and you got to make an ask from somebody, or maybe you may have to give some sort of feedback that they're not going to like, or some news that they're going to really be upset with me about, right? And that sort of thing. It's like, well, what have I done invest in that. So that way
Yeah.
that message can come across right, and they have that trust in the relationship, and it doesn't wither and crumble off of one bad experience, right?
Mm-hmm.
So power of relationships and really investing in them with love.
Yeah, that's awesome. And genuinely just, even if you're not doing something in return, it's just being appreciative of what that person's doing and also respecting the value of what they do for the organization. I think a lot of times people sometimes overlook like some of these things that people do and small things and big things and different units. And because, we're all kind of trying to do the same goal, but you're in your own part of it. If you can just spend the time and say, you know what, I really respect what you do or appreciate it. And whatever side of the house that is, I think it makes a difference whether or not, this person does a favor for me later on or not. At least they, I can tell they understand and value what I'm trying to do for them. Or on the other side, I understand and value what they're doing for me or the organization.
Yeah, I think the more you kind of approach things like that too, just in regards to, like I said, kind of leading with love, right? Recognizing, seeing people as more than just what they're doing here, Boise State from 9 to 5. Really, that's not who they are. It's just what they're doing.
We're all people with like lives and families, and other interests and stuff. And I always say that to my team, like get to know people for who they are. Like we know what they do for a job and you respect that, but like knowing them for like who they are. And like when somebody says to me, how are the kids? Like, how is this? Like it goes so much farther for me than you're so like, boom, 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 boom. And I understand we have to be business a lot of the times, but like, I remember those people that actually like care about me. How are the kids? How's this? What's going on here? Like we're all people. We all want to be able to work well together and be kind. And like you said, lead with love. Like if you don't know about them and what their lives are about, how are you going to do that? So I think that's a great one that I think
we all carry.
Look.
I think people, sometimes too, like, well, we all know the person, right, who kind of maybe gets a bad rap in terms of being like, oh, this person's always like such and such. And it's like, yeah, but do you know what's going on in their life?
Right.
Like, do you understand the crap they're dealing with right now? Right. It's like, I'd be the same way too, but you don't know that. Right. And so it's just when you can get to that level of relationships, right, where it's like, you can see, okay, this is what we see on the surface. All the work stuff's just surface level, right? There's so much more to everybody that's going on. And when you kind of get to that point, when you get to that point, I think you really get to understand each other more. And then because of that, I might have that relationship with one person. I may not have that with somebody else, but if they know that I have that relationship with somebody, right, like they're going to understand like, hey, okay, maybe Justin doesn't have that relationship with me personally, but this is who,
he is,
who Justin Rogers is and what he's about.
Yeah.
And if we ever get to that point, it'll get to that point. But, you just kind of start, I think, kind of building yourself and building that identity. And then there's a lot of trust that comes with that.
Yeah, it snowballs one after the other. The more you do it, the more people see it, the more it's going to be a part of the culture. Yeah. Well, Justin, thank you so much for doing this. We really appreciate it. Some great tips and tricks I know people appreciate. And hopefully things will go great out there in Boise. And we'll maybe see you back on the East Coast here at some point.
Yes.
Sure, yeah.
Yeah, this was so great. This was so much fun. Thank you so much. I'm so glad we got to connect and do this. And thank you again, Krupp. This all because of him.
Exactly.
But well, everybody make sure you're following us on all of our socials at AthCareerPod. And we drop new episodes every Tuesday. And make sure you're liking us and sharing everything and commenting and rating us and reviewing us on all the podcast platforms as well, because that helps us out a ton. So again, we appreciate this. And thank you all for listening.
See everybody soon.
Bye.
Bye. If you like the 5 Tips and Tricks podcast, make sure to subscribe on your favorite podcast platform. You can rate and review us, including questions that may be answered on future episodes. The 5 Tips and Tricks podcast for careers in athletics is part of Athletic Career Consulting. Check us out at www.athcareer.com. Don't forget to follow and like us on your top social media platforms.